Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Shai de la Fuente, a member of BCBP Alabang. Erica, I can't quite hear you. Can you say that one more time?
And this is Erica Sanchez from BCBP Makati City.
Nice. And everybody, shall we say welcome to Unmasked.
Unmasked.
Again, a warm welcome to everybody. This BCBP live talk show is streaming in the BCBP Kapatiran Facebook page and through our BCBP TV in YouTube. Just like we did in our first episode, we have a set of servant leaders who we will get a chance to unmask.
I know, and it's so great to be again here with you, Shai, tonight, and with everybody joining us from all over. Just on the side, I see a lot of people. I see people from Iligan, from Santa Rosa, Nuvali, from Tuguegarao, from Alabang. Good evening to everybody. Wasn't it just a few weeks ago that we were able to launch this Unmasked series where we were able to talk to the Mission Possible team, o diba? With their very own Tom Cruise, which is in the form of our President PV Bilay, who is also here saying good evening to all of us. And tonight, if we had the action team of Mission the last time, this time we have the Transformers. And this episode is entitled Formation Inside Out. So, audience, those who are already on the chat box, make sure that you get all your questions in, and we will try as much as possible to ask our wonderful, wonderful guests for this evening.
Good evening, everyone. I can see people from Canlubang, Alabang, San Pablo. Hello to all of you. For tonight, our special guests are those whose services focus on formation. So how do we start? I guess from youngest to oldest, no? Pero in community ha, not in age.
Oh, yes.
Dapat lang, no? Kasi kung hindi, lagot tayo dito, Erika.
Correct, lagot tayo. Medyo behave.
Behave. Our first guest hails from Imos chapter, having completed BCLP 2 in 2001 when it was still an outreach. He has been assigned as formation director. Then after his term as chapter head, he was designated as a regional coordinator for formation. He is married to Chingay and they have an único hijo, Red, who is now 24 years old. Brothers and sisters, allow me to introduce our current NSC for formation, Rene Medrosillo. Hello, Rene.
Good evening,
Hi,
Rene.
Good evening. Our second youngest... Oh, nice to see you too. Our second youngest guest is a member of the Canlubang chapter. He is happily married to May and they have 4 children, Joshua, Marion, Andre, and Angelique. They joined the BCLP 1 in Calamba back in 1997. And if you wish to see more of him these days, just visit the BCBP National Office. Let us welcome our freshly minted Managing Director and immediate past President, Jose Alfredo Almoro, more popularly known as Joff.
Good evening, ladies. I'm seeing yellow tonight. Must be a good sign.
Yes, it's the theme. It's a theme. It's so to brighten up the topic of formation.
Great.
And last but not the least, our third guest is from the Quezon City North chapter. He and his wife Janet joined BCBP in 1986 and took the BCLP 10 in Makati City. They have 3 children, Migs, Anika, and Gab. Roy and Janet actually just celebrated their 40th wedding anniversary last May 9. So mabuhay ang bagong kasal. And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our past BCBP chairman and the present NSC for Leadership Development, Mr. Roy D. Calleja.
Good evening. Magandang gabi, ladies.
Magandang gabi. And good evening, gentlemen. So, are you all ready to be unmasked? I sense the silence.
Parang kinakabahan sila, Erika.
Kinakabahan
Wala
talaga.
nang maskara.
Wala na kami itatago.
Habang papakalmahin namin kayo, let's just say hello to our audience from Nuvali, Iligan, Tuguegarao, Alabang, Canlubang, and Olongapo. Erika, parang marami pa.
Oo nga. We have Rosario Padre Garcia. And then, go, Transformers of BCBP. Diba? So there's so many and we'll take a while to look through them, but let's get on with the meat of the program. So, again, gentlemen, I'll ask you, are you ready to be unmasked? And don't worry, Shai and I will be gentle.
Behave kami.
Go ahead. So... We're yours for the next hour.
Okay.
We surrender.
To authority? Yeah. Depending on whose authority?
Tonight you are.
Yan ang
Thank
magandang
you.
sagot.
Exactly. Hello, BCBP Taguig. Ito na, sumisipot na lahat sila dyan. Okay, so I have a two-pronged question. And the first is more, please let the audience know exactly what your current professions are. And after you've answered that, let us know a little bit about how you were in your younger days. Okay, I say younger because you're still young. So when you're a little younger pa, diba? Describe how you were then. Were you a natural leader? Were you an active member in your organizations when you were much younger? So I think we'll start with Rene.
Good evening. I am the country manager of Fest Didactic. It's a German company. Retired and rehired last April only. I was a student. I love to read anything except my lessons. Adventurous and reckless, I would try anything, even the seminary to become a priest. But I did not make it. I was not fond of joining organizations though. In sports, I played basketball and soccer. Leadership qualities started to show when I was already working. Enough of me. Roy, what about you?
Ako, I buy foreclosed properties from Pag-ibig Fund. I renovate, upgrade, and then flip them and sell them. I was not a leader in high school and college. I was more of a follower. I had a lot of barcadas. I entered the fraternity and wanted to excel in basketball. Secondary lang yung studies, but wala nangyari sa basketball. Joe?
Yeah, thank you, Roy. Well, as I said, I'm managing director of the national office, which is a full-time job. But on the side, I'm still practicing my profession as a packaging consultant, and I am a pro bono consultant for the Department of Trade in the industry. Um, Likewise, I started a business, no, about a year ago in March, no, and 2 days later nagka-lockdown. But eventually we were able to open, and we're open right now. My partners are running it for me. So in high school, I wasn't exactly a leader, no, follower lang. Ah, song leader. Yan, taga-gitara ako noon eh, tsaka taga-turo ng mga kanta. Yan.
Pues,
So,
mag-aabang kami ng demo niyan mamaya.
nako.
Kasi sinabi mo na eh.
Correct.
Oo nga eh.
Be honest.
Obvious ba,
Abangan.
andito yung organ, no? Kung sa ano yan, ito na yung tape, naka-cue na yan.
Pwede mag-song request. Ganun
Ay,
ba?
Mr. DJ, can I make a request?
Oh my
Huli.
gosh. Pwede pa ba yun?
Joff, huhukayin ko ng konti yung answer mo dun sa first question. Did BCBP fulfill your students' dreams?
Actually, far from it. Being in the community was not in my plans or in my dreams. No, parang it just happened. But now that I'm in it, parang wow, it's really something that I should have dreamed of when I was in college. So, that's it.
So parang oo ang sagot dun, no?
Yeah. Now,
Now, galing. Eh
now
si
looking
Rene,
back.
hindsight 2020.
Somehow,
Rene,
yes.
how about you?
Yeah, somehow, but I did not have much dream when I was young. I was happy-go-lucky. I was kaladkarin. Ika nga. I was somehow, but when I went to the seminary, I dreamed about, studying scriptures. I got it in the BCBP through Father Herb, and also playing guitar for people. Well, somehow it's useful.
May guitar ka ba dyan? Magduduet ba kayo, medyo?
Oh, ready.
Ready.
Yan ang mga gusto
Ready.
natin sa mga leaders
Boy
in the
Scout.
community. Always ready.
Ready
Always
pa,
prepared.
bingo.
Hashtag prepared.
Correct. Ito naman tatanungin ko kay Roy. Pero Roy, is it okay if I change the question a little bit? I heard many refer to you as the BCBP Kibia, ala Wikipedia. So with your exhaustive information about our community, since it started, I guess, in the 80s, no? Is there a right time to join in the community? For example, is there an age? Is there a condition in life? Single, married? At saka may seniors na ba nung nag-join ka ng BCBP?
I joined, I was 28 years old. Marami ng seniors noon, ano? For me, it's better to join the community when you are young. Why? Kasama sa formation yung mga anak mo eh. No, aside from your spouse, formation of the BCBP includes the children. And so, the seeds are planted. And I've seen that in the life of my children. The seeds grew, especially now na professionals na sila. So, it's better pag bata.
Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. Joff, let me circle back to you a bit. So, we are talking about leadership qualities, and some, maybe when you're younger, you didn't feel you had it, but actually, a lot of you guys are talking about sports, and that actually is a form of leadership training. And there's been a long debate on it, and I guess let's apply it to the community and the BCBP. Do you think leaders are born or are they made? Is it natural?
Well,
Is it by nurture? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, to me, they are neither born nor made. No, I think leaders are more importantly called, um, and the and their all their training that they have been receiving is for them to train their ears to listen to that call to become a leader, and that call obviously emanates from God. No? So they are called.
What a nice
I
response.
know. It's very Miss Universe, isn't it, Shai?
Oh, di ba?
Parang,
Parang
High five
nanalo ka
to
ng
both sides.
ano. You won the Q&A, Joff.
feeling ko. I'll bring Rene in here, and I was wondering, a little bird kasi told me that I should ask you this question, Rene. Were you always obedient or submissive to your first action group leader? In other words, were you immediately a compliant member according to our white BCBP commitment card? Or medyo pasaway ka ba?
Parang frame up ito. But anyway, it's a nice question. To my first AGL, I think I did my best, but I guess my best was actually good enough.
Oy, kanta din yun, ha?
Para kanta.
Pakidemo yan mamaya.
Well, actually, growing up, I was never really a good example of submission to authority, even in the seminary, even until my adult and professional years. But, by God's grace, surprisingly, I learned to be submissive in the BCBP. In the incidences, okay, in the BCBP, I have seen submission to authority in good incidences. Like it lightens the differences in perspectives between leader and member. It strengthens the community in times of struggles and conflicts. It brings peace and unity in relationships and chapter directions. It fosters cooperative disposition to formation. It aligns with the BCBP way of life and culture, and ultimately with God's will. So here, humility is key. I'm not humble, I don't have that, but somehow I managed to get by submitting to my superiors, to my leaders. But submission to the Lord, and it makes the power of God work in the community. It's God's gift to the BCBP.
Kaya naman pala Transformers ang
Oo
tawag
nga.
sa kanila. May
Exactly.
transformation na nangyari.
Correct. May
Ang galing.
nagaganap na ganyan.
May nagaganap. True. I'll ask a question, I guess, for all three, no? For all of you gentlemen out there. Being a school educator myself, I know that students have favorite subjects, and I'm sure you also have your own favorite subject. So whether in school or maybe even in BCBP teachings, malamang meron din kayong favorite. So can I ask you to share one of your favorite teaching topics and how this has had an effect or impact on you, not only as a member of BCBP but as a Christian also? Maybe Roy, we can start with you.
For me kasi you would I'd like to know and to experience God. Eh. So, yun ang unang-unang gusto ko, no? So, I was drawn to deepening in prayer life. Also, how to acquire the values and character for Christian leadership. So sa akin, dalawa eh. Yung spiritual growth through prayer at saka spiritual formation for community leaders. Yun ang hanggang ngayon, I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you, Roy. How about Joff?
For me, Roy is parang discovering God. Ako, discovering myself. So it was the steward leaders training, especially the principle and foundation, or the first part. It was really an eye opener for me to find out what I really am, and that gives me sort of a direction for my life, and allows me to base my decisions on that my statement of principle and foundation. So how about Rene, our resident seminarian?
Parang ikaw yung nasa hot seat rin eh. Lahat ng mahirap na question na pupunta sa iyo.
Parang nire-nervous na tuloy ako. Well, thank you, Joff. But, incidentally, it's the same as yours. We work together also in SLT, Our favorite teacher is Beth, Stewards Leaders.
Teacher, ha?
Yan na, laglagan na.
May direct line kami kay Beth.
Oo nga, may Viber nga.
Sorry, ma'am. But SLT has affected me so profoundly, particularly the idea of principle and foundation, such that I still carry it with me in my cell phone. My first SLT in 2013, I made my principle and foundation. And as I look at it almost every day, right here in my mobile phone, it reminds me of who I am and what my daily responses should be, and guides me to where I'm supposed to be, and that's ultimately with God. So it's a good guide for me. I'm discovering where God's taking me.
Nice.
Roy, I'm sorry, Rene. Since we're on you right now, spotlight on you. I have a group of questions, only because we have a lot of questions coming in again from a lot of people on the chat right now. So, first, as a leader in formation, and even as a past CH, obviously there are certain expectations, and one of that is to really be following the manual or the formation tracks that are prescribed by national. But of course, this is the perfect example, a year on into this pandemic, and a lot of things have really changed. Even the fact that we're doing a session like this online, when we'd love to be doing it live with you guys. Or mas nakaka-nervous ba yan? Pag live siya. But because of that, there may be things that your chapter needs that are not necessarily in the manual or maybe at that given point in time, and you'd want to address them. So how do you decide on topics or movements, or how to invite for teaching night, chapter retreats, or what kind of formation talks to give when you need to be able to address the concerns of your chapter right now?
Oh, yeah.
Kaya mo yan. I believe in you.
Yeah, thanks, Erica. You're saying who good, no? As I look back, it's really fulfilling. There are 4 sources of who good, no? NSPR, the manuals, actual chapter situations, and the national leadership directions. Now, we are looking to NSPR as a solid guide. But when we first started in EMOS way back, copy-paste lang talaga kami from other chapters, no? What the chapters did, we would do. Then I was lucky enough to get a hold of a CD full of formation tracks, which actually became reference for our teaching topics. Swerte, no? And when I was chapter head in 2010, we used NSPR4, timing naman, no? As our true north, no? To steer us in our formation tracks. Also, the BCBP manuals became more beautiful and reliable references for directions. Konti pa lang nun, parang mga 3 pa lang eh. It became our reference for directions in our chapter programs and in building our own speakers. Along with the manuals, we faithfully look to the national leadership for the new programs, especially the National Leaders Retreat. No? Especially the situations, the units and action groups also, they became good and valuable references for deciding on formation programs, information from the ground. When I was RCD until AMD, we used both NSPR4 and NSPR5. We addressed formation needs by directions that we would set during the annual regional and chapter plannings. With 4 RCDs under me in one area, we had 3 important directions in the life and formation program of the whole Southern Tagalog area. They are pastoral care, adherence to culture, and leadership development. And all these are supporting mission. Yun ang mga hugot ko.
Ako, may huhugot ako. For those who are also watching, what does NSPR mean or stand for?
As National Strategic Planning Retreat, it happens every 5 years.
Bigyan ng jacket yan. Congratulations.
Pero may follow-up question ako from Anibel Serrato. How do you measure the success of our formation programs in the lives of the members?
Wow. Tough question. Can I call a friend?
Depends. Do you want to be a millionaire?
Maybe Father Herb. I would say it would translate to the way they are ready for the mission of the BCBP, and it would translate in the way they relate to the members in the community and in their relationship with the Lord. But who can measure that? But externally, it's how they express, and witness to the Christian values in life, and they become ready in the mission. Maybe Roy can add something. He has more.
I think the only way you can measure that is if you see your members live out their way in the way they to their offices, their families, their associates, no? In the way they witness to their chapel mates, no? Ang palaging magandang sinasabi ni Bishop Robert Barron, the glory of God is the human being, fully human, fully alive. So we are the best examples and the best witnesses to glorify God. So tao pa rin yan. Look at the person.
Malalim ang mga sagot
answer.
dito.
I
Magaganda.
like that answer. I mean, touching on
True.
that, it's really about, your human self, because that's what we were made into, diba, by the Lord. And actually, there's another question from the chat box, which I'll latch onto that before I circle back to Ray. I'll address it to Joff. There's a question from Jason Lontok. Do you ever experience dryness in your spiritual or community life? Kasi like what Roy said, diba, we're human. So how do you address something like that?
Very recent, no? Last year, during the onset of the pandemic, I was actually already excited because I was already ending my term as president. So, isang knock na lang, tapos na ako. Kumbaga, downhill na yon. But the pandemic struck and suddenly every activity was put to halt. We had to cancel the NAC in Davao. So, and you have a lot of time in your hands because you're all holed up in your respective residences. So what do you do then? So you focus on prayer. Kaya lang, even the prayer sometimes gets dry. Wala ka ng paghugutan. But you know what? You just go through it, and I started to subscribe to a Zoom account so that I could meet my Mancom regularly. I use that Zoom account to to move forward with the activities of the brotherhood. And now, looking back at those 8 months of quarantine, we were able to finish NSPR6. We were able to finish and pilot the IBT. We were able to elect our new board, a new president. We were able to do our national leaders retreat in November. Ang dami, lalo na nagpapatong-patong nga because of because of technology, we're able to do a lot of things all at the same time. So
Galing, Joff. Productive pa rin.
yeah, really, God works, especially in your dryness, in your desert experiences.
Yeah,
So,
I think
follow-up question, no? Kay Joff, what response song would be most appropriate for that? Parang magandang pasukan ng song to eh. Tsaka pwede bang i-request for you to sing it na rin?
tsaka since nandiyan na rin yung gitara ni Ren eh,
Baka gusto niya
baka
sabayan.
gusto mong sumabay.
Oh, balak na nga niyang abutin eh. Anyway, when I joined the BCBP, yung especially in the breakfast, they had the response song there that really caught my attention because it doesn't sound like any religious song, no, to me. When I joined the BCBP kasi mga religious song mga kinakanta lang sa simbahan eh. But I was introduced to those kinds of music, and there's really one particular song that I like, no. Yahweh, you have created me. You have called me by name, and I am yours. Forever I will sing of your goodness. I will walk now in freedom to the kingdom of glory. Thank you!
Palakpakan naman.
Galing.
I hope you're all giving a virtual clap. Grabe, ang lamig talaga. Kahit
Grabe.
mainit dito sa Metro Manila, lumalamig ang panahon. Dahil sa
Hindi lang
boses mo.
unstoppable, game na game pa talaga, di ba?
I know.
And I'm sure if we had more time, we would love to hear more songs from Rene, from Joff. Roy, pasok ka na rin, di ba?
Actually, I have a question for Roy. So, there are a lot of questions about formation. It's all just, it's like a machine gun, ratatatat here on the side.
Sunod-sunod
But
nga.
I want to just, let's go to something a little lighter for the meantime, but we'll circle back as best we can. So, Roy, I heard that you're also a sort of superstar in the community, so much so that you've gone mula Apari hanggang Hulo, just visiting all the chapters, all the outreaches, visiting the community there to give talks, not even just in the Philippines, but abroad. Can you share with us two things? And I invite the audience to also weigh in. First is, of course, just for Roy, a funny experience you've had as a speaker, where it happened, and give us a brief story about that. And then second, a favorite city you don't mind going back and the reason why. And I know he's going to mention something here about food. So for all those who have fast fingers, I want you to be able to type what you think his favorite food is. But let's wait for his answer. Go ahead, Roy.
Alam mo, maraming magagandang experience eh. But the best experience siguro, when you go to visit and to give workshops, dapat mukha kang good news, hindi ka mukha kang bad news, no? Hindi ka mukha masungit. Ako, ang ano ko para maging mukhang good news, habang iniisip mo yung workshop, iniisip mo rin yung kakainin mo dun sa lugar. No? Para enjoy ka, no? Especially if you will escape your hosts and go on a joy of discovery in eating, no? Favorite place, marami ako, pero one memorable place is Iloilo. You go to Roberto's City Center, you buy Queen Siopaw, you buy fried meatballs, tapos fried chicken, tapos pupunta ka sa market ng Iloilo, you order super special batchoy.
Maraming super yan ah.
Oh,
So,
tapos,
Batchoy from
Batchoy.
Iloilo.
tapos
Okay.
kakainin mo, no? Tapos pupunta ka dun sa Plazuela, kakain ka ng Snickers pie. Heaven.
What is that? Sneakers pie?
Snickers.
Snickers
Snickers.
pie.
Akala ko
Parang
yung
masarap nga.
Yun ang, no? Maraming memorable
sarap.
places. Ang dami
Ako,
pwede ikwento sa inyo.
I have one question. Where's the best lechon you've ever had?
Nako.
Oo.
Inaabangan ko yung mga chapter humirit dito sa chat box.
Oo nga
If
eh.
they
Pero
think
may
their lechon is the
nagsasabi.
best.
Tugigaraw longganisa ang may...
Hoy, tugegara
dito.
longganisa daw.
Mukhang
Favorite mo
masarap
daw.
din yan.
Sabi
Si
ni
Susan.
Sabi ni
Susan
May,
Martinez.
maraming favorite food si Roy. So parang, it's very simple. Marami ang favorite. But really, best lechon. Come on. Ayan, dito
Parang
lang
ayaw
nakasagot
niya
si Roy.
sagutin.
Parang natakot yata sumagot.
Ayaw
Kasi
niya sagutin
makaawayan
kasi
siya ng
marami.
mga chapter.
Correct. Marami daw siyang favorite food. There's a question that I keep seeing consistently, no? Maybe I can ask Rene and Joff while we're waiting for Roy to come back. What is the best way to encourage our members to join the formation programs or to attend the formation programs? Joff?
Can I volunteer?
Sure, yes, please.
You know, human nature, they hate to be left out. Hindi ba? And you can use that to your advantage. Just create that buzz for a formation program. Talk about it and get your members interested. And
Nice.
of course, you have to really get good speakers and good organization so that it becomes a full package, a full experience.
Thank you, Joff. There's another question here from Alex Madrid. Is there any plan of having a formation talk or program by the Brotherhood related to choosing the right leaders for our country, as next year is an election? Maybe Rene, you can pick this up.
Well, leaders in our community, there was already a program started with Manolet, where he taught some chapters on how to select leaders. But in our experience in the chapters, we also have somehow like a framework or how leaders should be, and especially me in my experience as RCD, chapter head, and AFD, there are qualifications for various levels of leaders, and we include that in our formation program, where we tell everyone the kind of requirements for leadership, like fidelity to the commitment card, exposure to responsibilities, taking stewardships of all the ministries and things aside to them. These are telltale, they give telltale indications that somebody becomes leader. But of course, to have one program just to select leaders, well, we can also think about that.
Rene, excuse me, but I think Alex is referring to election, no? Political leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that, the BCBP is part of the formed, is a main convener of the Filipino movement of transformational leadership, and that group came out with the Gabay, a Gabay Cristo, patterning your selection to the values of Jesus Christ, much like what we are espousing in the BCBP. So there's, I think, a set of 20 questions that you have to judge your candidate against, and the one who satisfies most of those criteria should be your choice for for the person for elected office.
Okay.
I guess similarly to what we were talking about earlier, with the manuals, and even if your chapter and we're going through different things right now, you need these things as milestones or as lampposts Diba? So in the same
Yeah.
way that you have your faith and whatever you follow, by having signed that commitment card to be part of this community, those are the signposts that should lead you to those decisions that you make, whether it's within the community or outside of that. Okay, Roy is back. And Roy, while you were gone, medyo
Ang
sumasabog yung
dami.
chat na ang dami nagsasabi. Yung lechon maalat of Pagadian daw.
Pagadian.
And
Marami
actually,
pa.
it's so much. It's all the way up there. And then
Cebu
there's
daw. From
Cebu.
Anthony Lozada.
Oo. Maraming
Teka,
nagipag-away na dito. So ano bang sagot mo? What is your favorite lechon?
I can be corrected, ha? Pag wala mali yung sinabi ko, pwede niyo ako padala ng sample.
Yun ang maganda.
I like that. Oo. Wala ba para sa hosts na rin?
Sana madamay
Sama
kami
lang kayo.
doon.
To me, ang nasarapan ako, Butuan, Pagadian, Cebu. For lechon, no?
In that order? In that
Hindi
order?
naman.
Or
Hindi
interchangeable
naman.
naman?
Interchangeable. Tapos sa adobo, you have adobong Bacolod. But the adobo in Sorsogon is very sinful. Tapos yung humba sa Tagbilaran, no?
Uy, humba. Sarap din yun ah.
Nakakagutom
Best airport food, you go to Legazpi City, you go to one of the carinderias there and order snipes sa airport together with lechong kawali. Best balbakwa, Dipolog and Bacolod. Tapos you eat it with, in Bacolod with yung Napoleonis ni Ray Garcia, no? Marami pa yan. Dessert, Silvana sa Dumaguete.
Yes.
And
Uy, sarap yun.
Sans Rival, no? Best palengke food saan sa Dumaguete, sa Daet, yung tinumok, no? Best longganisa, best home cooked food, yung bahay ni na Bebot Heliasanya sa Ormoc.
Roy, that's so...
Ikaw parang we need to go with Roy, ha? When he travels.
I know.
up and
Actually,
down, no?
it's becoming less of an unmasked show, but more of a cooking and
Food.
foodie show. So actually, Roy, after this, you should really consider writing this all down, and we can share it with the whole community, so everybody knows.
Best seafood,
Oh, sige nga, best seafood.
Estancia, and Rojas City.
Rojas, actually, yes, that is the seafood capital of the Philippines.
Pero
But
hindi
similarly, so
Estancia.
yeah. So similarly, like we were talking about, how the manuals are really our guideposts, our faith and all that. So Roy, please make us a manual also on the best foods within the
agree.
BCBP community in the Philippines. So we'll shift back to the topic at hand. There are a lot of questions here. So there's one from Eddie Ibazeta. I'll direct this to Roy. Can the formation track of a chapter differ from that of another chapter? Hypothetically, if a chapter has difficulty maintaining members or has some fallout, does it mean that there's something wrong with the formation track of that chapter?
Ang formation track kasi has to be experiential. There will never be any problem if the members experience Jesus real and alive. So maybe it's the way it is taught that it is not experiential. No? It's like your wife. Do you love your wife if you read about your wife or it's her love? So any formation has to be experiential. Look at how the formation is delivered. The pastoral care, the caring of members, the tracks, how is it delivered, and how does the member live it out. If it is not experiential, magkakaroon ng problema.
Okay.
I like that answer.
I have one question for maybe Joff, you can pick this up. As seasoned formators, how hard is it to form BCBP members? How hard or easy, actually, ang tanong?
Well, really, how you prepare them, is key. If they're not predisposed to formation, you're really going to have a hard time. But it's not really based on our effort. and I hear this, I heard this first from Roy Calleja. No, he said that even if you have the best speakers in your formation program, if if you don't have the Holy Spirit to open the hearts and the minds of your participants, uh, malaking problema, and you will not be able to transform their hearts. No? So um, that's it. You can do everything, do a good job, a great job in running that formation program, but you really need to seek for the help and inspiration from the Holy Spirit, because He's really the one who forms people and transforms ordinary people into leaders, into faithful members of the community.
Touching on
Thank you.
leaders, because we have also a couple of questions about that. So I'll direct this to Rene. So once you've been assigned to top national posts like NSC or president, can you be assigned to other leadership positions? And as a follow-up to that, can a chapter head be assigned again as a chapter head after a couple of years?
Well, it's the judgment call of the chapter head or the leader based on prevailing circumstances. But under normal situation, you know, letting the NSC or the BOT go back to the chapter to lead, well, it may not speak well of the availability of leaders or the leadership development of the chapter. Because why can't the chapter have their next leaders? They should build leaders.
I like that. And that goes
So I
back
think
to what...
the senior leaders, they have their own ministries later on.
Erica, follow up lang din to that question. No? Somebody asked if you can take a sabbatical while you're on a leadership position. Is that something that can be done to any of our leaders on board right now?
Sabbatical maybe in terms of service, but not in attending your chapter. Once you leave, it's very mahirap maging Kristiyanong nag-iisa. If you watch yung mga National Geographic, di ba? Yung lions, lulusubin nila yung wildebeest. They will pick out those who are lagging or those who go astray. Those who are part of the herd, part of the community, are protected. Yung hindi, nakakain ng leon yun. Kain na naman.
Oh, I was going to say, pagkain na naman, Roy.
Bumabalik tayo doon, parang hindi tayo makaalis doon, no?
Talagang umiikot lang tayo sa pagkain. But I like that. I like the fact that really the strength is in the community. And we got a couple of questions also of, how are you able, this from Bebot Lopez, how do we maintain spiritual enrichment because of loneliness and fear of being infected? And this because of the pandemic. But you were talking about the strength in the community, diba? Though I think Joff touched on this, and it's really finding different ways to really go back to that. Now we have, while it's virtual, we're still able to do this all together. Diba? But I like that statement. Kahit dumiretso pa rin sa pagkain, it's the strength of being in a community that's always going to give you that formation, that transformation within you, especially of your faith.
Nako, ayan na
Shai,
naman. We've come to the end.
I know.
There's so many questions, but grabe the comments, the shout outs, the questions keep coming. Unfortunately, we're coming to the end of the show. So, itong next part, I was able to speak to many members of BCBP from several chapters, and ang daming positive feedback about this last part of the show, our fast talk portion called Be Honest, Ha? So I really think many out there are already waiting to get started on this portion. Gentlemen, reminders lang. You simply give the answer which immediately comes to mind. The answer both is not an option.
Yes.
No explanations required. Right, Erica? No explanations
First thing that comes to
required.
your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So game na?
Okay.
Game.
Shoot!
All right.
Game na
Shoot.
game na?
Mukhang game na sila.
Okay.
Ready? Let me start. 7 steps or look, listen, love, Joff?
7 steps.
One unforgettable lesson your AGL has taught you, Rene.
One solid, one liquid.
Submissive wife or submission to authority, Roy?
My wife
Tayo,
is my
dyan na
authority.
rin.
She's beside
Uy,
me.
magandang sagot.
Correct.
My-
Again, another Miss Universe answer there, ha?
Mhm.
My wife is my authority. I like that. Worship leader or discerner, Roy?
Ayaw na sagutin ni Roy tuloy.
Di ko alam kung ako yung naghang.
Oo.
Discerner.
Nagde-discern pa.
Nagdi-discern pa. Baka nandyan si Janet kasi.
Baka nga. Ito, next one. Unit leader or action group leader, Rene?
Action group leader sana.
As speaker for BCMR, communication in marriage or sex in marriage, Roy?
Sex is the best communication.
Nako! Twice na yan ang ganun ang sagot, ha?
Nakakalusot, ah. Pansit
Oo nga.
palabok? Pansit palabok or spaghetti, Joff?
Palabok.
Palabok. Very Pinoy.
Gagalit sa akin yung anak ko, pero palabok.
Okay.
Pero agree ako sa'yo. Agree ako dyan.
Ako, spaghetti. Kung Pinoy spaghetti. Okay, I have a series of fast talk questions as well. Yes or no? Just yes or no. Is it easy to invite Father Herb as a speaker? Joff?
Yes.
Yes. But give me
Titigilan
one
mo pa.
word. Ganon? O sige nga, give me one word to describe Father Herb. Rene?
Father
One
Herb
word.
is very charismatic.
Charismatic. Yes or no? Do you like your service, Roy?
Yes.
Parang hindi ka naman naghang ng konti, no? Yes. Music ministry or intercessory ministry, Rene?
Music mystery. Music ministry.
Music ministry, sige nga, mag-demo ka nga. May gitara ka dyan eh. Alam ko may gitara ka dyan eh. Kanina mo pa nilalabos, oh. Sige na, naka-spotlight ka.
Pag sinabing music mystery, tinutugtog mo na, hindi alam ng community kung ano yung kanta.
Name that tune.
Oo nga, name that tune. May pa-contest ka pala.
Christian people. Okay, mahabang kanta.
Thank you naman.
Mamaya daw
May
kakanta
pa-demo
siya.
pa. Oo nga, mamaya. Pag-closing daw. Pang-closing song siya. Okay,
Correct.
who is your favorite speaker in the BCBP of all time? Joff.
I mentioned it kanina, Roy Calleja.
Oh. And what is your favorite food in action group meetings? I'll give this one to Roy. Mr. Foodie himself.
Igado.
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 Bagay,
Igado.
one liquid and one solid naman yun, di ba? May konting sauce yan, di ba?
All in na siya. All in.
All in na siya. A new skill you develop because of the BCBP, Rene.
Submission to wife.
Oh, sa BCBP mo lang na na-learn yan? Yan ang skill, ah. Dagdag sa
Parang-
skill set.
Sa question ng submission, si Rene, medyo parang kailangan pag-isipan ng konti, no? Wasn't
Sabi niya,
that
kakanta na lang ako,
revealing?
kakanta na lang ako.
Ay nako, Erica, I don't know about you, but I had so much fun. And I hope everyone else had fun too. Before we formally close, we would like to hear from you, our audience, our BCBP viewers, regarding the schedule of Unmasked and other national events. Is Saturday night a good night for you or a good time for you? Or is there a better day and time? We would like to hear your comments and feedback. So please flood our inbox now, our comment section. Tell us what day and time is good for you. Or you can email us at digital@bcbp.global. I'll repeat that, digital@bcbp.global. Again, you can just type it on the chat box right now if Saturday evening is a good time for you or if you have a different day and time in mind. And so, my dear Erica and our
Transformers.
yeah. So this brings us to the end of our show. Again, we would like to thank our three formative, formidable, at saka ma-formang gentleman. Sorry, wala na akong ma-form na words. NSC
Formalin.
Formation, naubos eh. NSC Formation, Rene Medrosillo. NSC Leadership Development, Roy Calleja. And of course, our Managing Director, Joff Almoro. We hope you had as much fun as we did. Passing it to you, Erica.
Yes, we had so much fun with these Transformers. And again, we're looking forward to Roy's foodie book for the community.
Mhm.
And at the same time, shout out to everybody who jumped in, whether it's through BCBP TV on YouTube, through Facebook and all that. I noticed here that we even have viewers from Australia.
Na.
Australia, mate.
Howdy, mate.
From there. Actually, I'll give a shout out, obviously, to Makati, especially to we have an ongoing CLP right now, 48, to the course leaders of that, Millie and Edmond. But
Max man. Pero sisingit
Yeah.
na rin ako kasi
Of
shout out to
course.
BCBP Alabang. We have our BCLP 51 coming up. So please get in touch with our course leader, Butchoy Regala, and let us know if you'd like to join BCBP Alabang.
pwede ka
mo
rin naman sa
mag-shoutout
BCBP
din?
Makati.
Pwede rin naman.
Yes, actually. Go
Shout
ahead.
out din ako. Hoy,
Hoy. Huwag naman gano'n. Nananawagan ba?
Kanlubang. Anniversary namin next week
Wow, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
of our chapter in
Joff,
Kanlubang. Oo.
padala ka ng bulalo from Kanlubang.
Papadala namin address namin. Oh, wait.
Oh,
Ito,
Teka
Roy.
lang.
Choice, bulalong baka o bulalong kalabaw?
Oh.
Both.
Ha?
Both.
Oh.
Both. Oo nga, kailangan pa ba
Pwede namang,
mag-choose?
para masabi namin kung ano yung gusto namin next time.
Oh,
Exactly.
Padala mo both, no?
Sige.
Teka lang, hot off the press, we have just been informed that we will have a very special BCBP live talk show featuring the biggest event of the year for our community.
So
Drop in
watch
the
out for
comments.
that.
Yeah, drop in the
Yes.
comments if you know what is coming up. Pero, watch out pa lang.
Yes. Watch out, teaser pa lang.
Teaser pa lang.
But of course, you're going to get a lot of information about that. And we hope to see you at the next episode of Unmasked. And for now, we'll have to say goodbye. Again, a big thank you to our three formidable gentlemen.
Yes.
Rene, Joff, and Roy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And as usual, to my lovely co-host, Shai, it's always a
Nice.
pleasure to be here with you.
Always a pleasure to be here with you too. But please don't forget, tomorrow is Father's Day. A big shout out to all the daddies, dads, papis, and tatais who are watching tonight. Happy Father's Day to you. So,
Advanced Happy Father's Day. A special, special one also to G. Bensegi of Makati chapter, who just recently became a father.
Naks
wow.
naman. So Rene, Joff, Roy, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for transforming all of us, for transforming all our audiences everywhere, from wherever you are.
Thank
and
you,
again,
ladies.
my name is Erica Sanchez from BCBP Makati.
And I am Shai from BCBP Alabang. Thank you very much and good
Thank you very
night.
much.
Magandang gabi, BCBP.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Bye. Thank you.
Ay, and we're back.
And we're back. So, we're back.
Are we back?
John, medyo natakot ako dun, ha. Yung nawala yung